Hi, I'm Camille Butterfield with Monolith Financial Group. I've seen this happen many times over the years. A family gathers around a kitchen table. Someone they love has unfortunately just passed away. Emotions are still raw, people are grieving, and eventually someone asks, okay, what happens next? Then another question usually follows. Who's handling everything? That's often when people discover they've been named trustee, executor, or they're simply the family member everyone's looking to for help. If that's where you find yourself today, first let me say this. It's completely normal to feel overwhelmed. Most people don't spend their free time learning how estate administration works. Usually, this responsibility arrives during one of the most emotional seasons of life. Before we go any further, I do want to mention that I'm not an attorney and this isn't legal advice. Every estate is different, every trust is different, every family is different. My goal today is simply to help you understand where to begin and share some practical guidance that may help you feel more organized and confident moving forward. One thing that confuses many families right away is the terminology. You may hear words like executor, trustee, personal representative, beneficiary. So let's simplify those for just a quick moment. An executor is generally the person named to help administer an estate and carry out the instructions contained in a will. They may be responsible for gathering assets, helping address debts, and coordinating distributions according to the estate plan. A trustee is generally responsible for managing assets held inside a trust according to the instructions of the trust. The beneficiary is someone designated to receive assets or benefits. And depending on the estate plan, the same person may serve in more than just one role. The good news is that you don't need to become an expert in all of those titles today. What's more important is understanding the role you're being asked to play and knowing where to go when questions come up. So, where do you start? I generally encourage families to focus on 5 areas. The first is gathering important documents. Find the trust, find the will. Sometimes those are together. Locate account statements, insurance policies, property records, tax returns. Contact information for people like attorneys, accountants, and financial advisors. Before you can understand what needs to happen, you need to understand what exists. I often compare it to kind of putting together a puzzle. You don't start by forcing pieces together. You start by finding the picture on the box. Those documents help provide the picture. The second step is identifying the professional team. Ask yourself, who maybe drafted the estate planning documents? Who prepared the tax returns? Is there a financial advisor involved? Who has already been helping the family? One of the biggest mistakes people make, I feel like, is assuming they have to do everything themselves. Most of the time, there's potentially already professionals who can help answer questions and guide the process. Lean on them. Ask questions. That's exactly why they're there. The third step is creating an inventory. What accounts exist? What property exists? Are there retirement accounts, those life insurance policies, bank accounts, investment accounts, real estate, business interests? You don't need every answer immediately, but your goal is simply to begin building a complete picture. Think of yourself as gathering information before making decisions. Another lesson I've learned over the years is not to assume you know where everything is. One of the first things I often encourage families to do is simply start looking. Look through filing cabinets, look through desk drawers, look through old folders, safes, look through safe deposit box records if applicable. Check email accounts for account statements or any type of financial correspondence. Review tax returns from prior years. Tax returns can often provide clues about financial institutions, retirement accounts, investment accounts, pensions, and other assets that may need attention. Review bank statements for check registers or for reoccurring deposits or payments. Sometimes those small clues can really help you uncover accounts or benefits that might otherwise be overlooked. And don't overlook the obvious places to go. Years ago, my mother was helping to settle an estate for her mom and found cash tucked away in actual socks in a sock drawer. It sounds funny, but situations like that can happen often more than people realize. I've seen families discover old savings bonds, a safe full of gold, unknown insurance policies or pension benefits, bank accounts they didn't know. That's why I encourage people to kind of become their own detectives before they become decision makers. Focus first on gathering that information. Build the complete picture before rushing to conclusions. Another simple step is checking your state's unclaimed property website. Sometimes forgotten bank accounts, uncashed checks, insurance proceeds, utility deposits, stock distributions, or other assets may be sitting there waiting to be claimed. It only takes a few minutes to search, and it's often worth doing. The more complete the information you gather up front, the easier it becomes to understand what needs attention and what conversations need to happen next. The fourth step is organization. It may sound simple, but it can save an incredible amount of stress. Keep a notebook, create a binder, use a digital folder, whatever system works for you. Document those phone calls, write down your questions, keep copies of correspondence, track what information has been requested and when it was submitted. One of the goals during this process is creating a single source of truth, one place where documents, notes, contacts, and questions live. That can really help reduce confusion and help everyone stay on the same page. One of the resources we've included with this video is an example of a communication log. It may seem simple, but when you start talking to banks, insurance companies, attorneys, government agencies over a period of months, having one place to keep notes can be incredibly valuable. Imagine someone asks, well, when did we send those forms? How long is it supposed to take? Who did you speak with at the bank? You'll be glad you wrote it down. The fifth step is understanding that this process may take longer than you expect. Many families assume everything's going to be settled within a few weeks. In reality, it can often take months, sometimes longer. That's normal. Try not to measure your success by how quickly everything gets completed. Instead, focus on making steady progress one step at a time. Give yourself some breathing room. There are also a few surprises that catch families off guard. There may be beneficiary designations that need to be reviewed. There may be retirement benefits, pensions, stock plans, other life insurance through a current or former employer. There may be tax filings that still need to occur. There may be questions about whether a trust or estate needs its own taxpayer identification number. The details depend on the situation, which is why working with those appropriate professionals can be so valuable. I also want to acknowledge something that doesn't get talked about enough. Many people helping settle an estate are doing so while they're grieving. You're not just handling the paperwork, you're processing the loss of someone important too. You're supporting family members, you're attending meetings, you're making phone calls, answering questions. That's a lot. Give yourself some grace. It's okay to ask those questions. It's okay to take breaks. It's okay to lean on people. You do not get extra credit for carrying the burden alone. And finally, don't be afraid to ask for help. One of the biggest mistakes I see is waiting too long to ask questions. If you're unsure about something, ask. If you're confused, ask. If you don't know what the next should be, ask. Most problems become easier to solve when they're addressed early. I'll leave you with one final thought. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to solve everything. You just need to take the next step. Gather the documents, build your community or team, stay organized, ask those questions, and remember, progress is often made one conversation and one decision at a time.